8/11 right now, and Black History Month begins next Thursday, but you don't have to wait until then to celebrate the life of prolific writer and civil rights advocate James Baldwin. Take a look.
The doctrine of white supremacy on which the Western world is based has had its hour, has had its day. It's over. Everything has changed on the surface. Nothing else has been touched.
There are no signs saying you can't go here, you can't go there.
You got to figure that out
all by your lonesome.
All by your lonesome.
Now the South, learned something in the North.
Exactly.
I learned a long time ago.
Exactly.
A documentary tracing Baldwin's fight for civil rights titled I Heard It Through the Grapevine is playing through next week at the Film Forum. So this morning we are joined by director Pat Hartley to explain how this movie came about. So good morning to you, Pat. Thanks for being with us. So you and your husband actually released this film back in 1982,
yes.
Right? And talk about why you decided to re-release it now.
Well, actually, the film was made for the children. It was made to be a film that gets seen over and over again. The film is not about Baldwin. I mean, he was very insistent about that. The film is about the people and the children that he's talking to. And so that's actually, you know, and listen, we got the vote. As he says in the film in '82, you know, we're right back where we started from. Not quite, but sort of. So I can hear him laughing in the grave. He and I have lots of conversations in the grave about what's going on.
Oh, I'm sure.
But that's why you brought it back?
Yeah, yeah. And that was what it was intended to do. It was originally shown at the Film Forum in '82. And it's gotten a much better reception this time around. I think probably because of, you know, the various events that have changed time. And my granddaughter Sophia is here.
That's wonderful.
So that's who we made it for.
Yeah.
So we're doing our job, you know?
Yeah.
And keeping the history and legacy alive of James Baldwin, because there is such a legacy there too. And while you say it's not about him, it certainly is looking at his journey, right? And the subjects that he spoke about and interviewed. How did you kind of capture it and encapsulate it all in a film? Because there's so much.
Well, you know, the film gets made in pieces.
Yeah.
So first there's the long trip, you know, where I got a list of people that he wanted to talk to. So we had to track him down, and most of them agreed to talk because it was him. And, you know, he went south as a reporter. So, you know, this was like, we didn't know what we were going to find.
Yeah.
So it's interesting to be him and watch him be a ghost in the film at the same time.
Yeah.
You know, it's really, he's there, but it's really, he's not there. And that was a tremendous sort of act of courage. I mean, some of the things we heard were very disturbing. He was very upset. You know, he has a great deal of empathy for other human beings.
Yeah.
But the main thing is, I remember we were sitting in Florida, and we were so excited. Look at what all these people had done.
Yeah.
I mean, really. I mean, you know, they just left their houses and got together.
Right.
And I'm very excited and encouraged by that. You know, what I see is a whole bunch of people walking around, getting things done, making sure that even if it does happen again, it doesn't matter. It only matters, what does he say? It only matters what we're going to do.
Right.
So I'm a filmmaker, so that's what I do.
Yes.
Yeah.
But you and your husband had a very close relationship with him, right?
Yes, we met him, and we were all expatriates. Well, my husband's actually English, but Dick Fontaine and I, we made the film together. But, you know, Jimmy lived in Paris, and then he was up in London for a while. So, you know, it's interesting to sort of talk about home while not being at home.
Yeah.
You know, it was easy. It wasn't that it was easier, it's that the perspective looked different. And we were working on a long film about the Kennedy assassination. And so I got all this civil rights footage, which I never would have gotten in the States. You know, it was floods of it, you know, all unedited, you know, just raw material.
Yeah.
And let's see, my son was about 6 by then.
Wow.
And we started talking about the children. And then we started looking at pictures of little children being put in jail. And then little children, you know, continuing. So, I don't know, I'm very encouraged by the film. Somebody said, oh, this is so depressing. I don't find it depressing. I think it's very exciting that we have a legacy and a history. And, you know, Jerome says, you know, that there's no end to it. You know, he's very, you know, this different point of view.
Yeah. You know, James Baldwin was born in Harlem, buried in Westchester. And folks may know the name, really, not only from the history lessons, but the 2016 documentary that was called I Am Not Your Negro. So how does your film differ from the 2016 documentary?
Okay. Well, you know, as I said, he was very adamant that the film was not about him.
Yeah, that one was really focused on him.
Yes,
Yeah.
that you know, his story is not what we're actually looking at. It's like our story. So, you know, he's telling us what we can do.
Yeah.
You know, and because he has that second sight, he has that ability to do that. It feels like but he says in the film, you know, he's listening to the story. He's not telling me the story.
Exactly.
And so he comments, but.
Well, what are you hoping people take away from your film?
Oh, vote. I mean, you know, and listen, I was a teenager in 1964. People just left New York City in cars and station wagons and went to the South to help register people to vote. It was very exciting. It was, I don't know how to describe it, but there's something so wonderful about doing something
movement,
and doing something for everybody, not just for you or the people, you know, in your own neighborhood. So that's really what I'm hoping that they'll get from it, you know, just that. And the music helps.
Well, yeah.
You always need a soundtrack for things.
Where can people watch it, Pat?
Oh, you can see it at the Film Forum.
Okay.
It's on at 1 and at 6 for the rest of the week.
Great. Thank
Okay.
you so much for coming in.
You're welcome.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Pat.
Okay, thank
All
you.
right.